Okay, so we're here at the gate. I think we got about an hour before we board, and we enjoyed a couple hamburgers prior to getting on this plane because we weren't exactly sure when and where our next hamburger would be coming from. So now it's just a matter of waiting for the plane. We appear to be seated separately from one another, so as soon as the gate agent gets out here, maybe I'll use my birthday magic and see if I can't convince someone to put our seats together. Anyhow, that's about... this has been a trouble-free journey thus far. I don't see any difficulty. Of course, I say that now because I'm tan, rested, and ready, and who knows what I'll feel like when we hit Munich, but I think it's going okay so far. Well, okay. We're here in the Munich airport. We're actually sitting in a little wine bar. The flight out here was actually really nice. We lucked out tremendously and got a pair of seats that were on the exit row, and side by side, just the two of us in our little section. And we got a good education on how to be good stewards of the wing exit. And I should say that I'm very well educated now about it. Ida seems to be enjoying a book. It looks like she may be free of the book here in a moment. I think we're probably going to have a glass of wine or two, or maybe a beer or something. We have 7 hours to go before the flight to Johannesburg. I'm actually kind of looking forward to that one, just because it's going to get us closer. But otherwise, my birthday was great. Even though I spent a lot of it on the road, it was still really, really good. So no complaints. It's a wonderful Saturday. And I don't know, gotta get a beer. Alright, well, it's been 8 hours and we're well rested and well fed, and now our plane is actually sitting right out there. We're gonna board in probably 25 minutes. It's been rather a long afternoon here in Munich, but it's been very nice and rather easygoing. I don't think we've really had any problems to speak of. Not that I'm a huge fan of long layovers, but when it comes right down to it, this was certainly the easy way to go. We ended up bopping back and forth between this concourse and another concourse because there's better food over the other one. For here, though, it seems to be pretty quiet. There's really hardly anybody here. You might see a few people behind me walking around, but honestly, it's not very busy. So high hopes of getting into Johannesburg and then on to Gaborone. So we still have a rather full day ahead of us. Anyhow, probably report next from Johannesburg. Okay, so we finally made it here to Gaborone. I decided not to post an update from the airport out in, let's see, where was it? Johannesburg. After we got off that plane, it just seemed like it got a little bit sort of tiresome for me because I was really tired and I didn't necessarily feel like making an entry at the time. So instead, what we did is we kind of loafed around in the Johannesburg airport, which was great, and we sat in a lounge that played 1980s VH1 videos non-stop on permanent rotation, which was a lot of fun, and we had coffee, and we looked at all kinds of interesting stuff in the airport gift shop, and finally just loafed and loafed and loafed until it was time for us to get on the airplane to Botswana. And that was a really short flight. It was on this little, I don't know, 60-seat turboprop plane, and it was certainly, I was so zonked out that I slept probably halfway through it. There was just enough time to serve drinks and then collect them, and then the flight was done. And then, of course, arriving in Gaborone, the airport is small, but very spacious and airy. And we managed to get all of our paperwork in and get our bags, and everything showed up perfectly. There were no problems whatsoever with any of that. And then Ted picked us up and took us back here. That's where I'm making this entry from. And so we're now sitting in the living room, and we're just talking about where we're going to go later on tonight. We're also talking about ways we can redecorate Ted's living room. You may hear laughter in the background. That's because it's funny. And so we're going to goof off and go get a bite to eat, and then hopefully that will help us set our body clock such that we can come home and sleep really, really well and wake up tomorrow for a day of more or less loafing and having a good time loafing, I might add, while we get ready before we head out into the countryside. And so we're here 2 days later, more than 48 hours of traveling later. We're finally here, and I'm just so glad to be here. Ted's such an excellent host. He's done great things in just getting the house ready for us, seeing that every need is met. So you just can't beat that. So anyway, this is it. We're having a great time. Gonna post another entry probably tomorrow, running through what our agenda is going to be. So stay tuned.